welcome. Yay. Hi, Olga. Yay, we're here. All right. Happy full moon. It's a really interesting, different, really lovely moon. And understanding some of the energies of it really takes it way past like, oh, it's a full moon. It's time of harvest. There's more light, there's more illumination. What am I reflecting? The moon represents your emotions. And so in this spiritual weather report, we're going to dive into what are some of those really interesting energies that are going on cosmically with this full moon, but then also right now in our lives. So the full moon always affects the next 2 weeks very powerfully, sort of denotes that. You can feel the full moon many days before and after. So whatever energies are peaking today, and I hope you're enjoying them. I got to watch the moon rise. It doesn't quite come into my view till it's risen over some trees. However, watching the sunset and the sunrise, the moonrise, to me, because that happens simultaneously, right, at a full moon. They're directly opposite each other. So the full moon is reflecting the fullness of the sun. So we're not just working with moon energy. The mysteries of the sacred feminine remember the moon, and they remember that the sun is one of the creations, that they're sister and brother. And it's like, I send this out. So the expertise, the medicine of the sun, right? All of that whole other story, but like the flares, the sun, the brightness, the fire energies, the raising energies, the life force energies, the kundalini energies, the ability to bring so much codes for life. And the moon is just as powerful, but in a very different way. So it's like if you help people through psychotherapy and someone else helps people through chiropractic, one of my all-time favorites is 1111. Yay! If you have not experienced a chiropractor in your life, it will change your life forever. So, but you see, like they're both serving people. They're both bringing healing. They're both having a purpose and a passion to become an expert, to express. Never do anything for money. Yes, receive money, be worthy of money, get paid well, but don't do it for the money. Anything you do just to get the money is icky energy, and it's full of all kinds of toxins. So maybe you'll go down and find some of that today. Capricorn full moon means that we are really looking at the earth element, and Capricorn is a very agile goat. Okay. So in some traditions, the goat had a fishtail. So it is a really weird earth sign because it's a water earth sign. And so if you're half water and you're half earth, you get mud. Okay. But I also, hi, Susan. I also see, my daughters are Capricorn. My best friend, my best spiritual friend was Capricorn. My dad is a Capricorn, lots and lots of friends of Capricorns. And I didn't understand any of this stuff until my kids were little. And I was friends with a very powerful woman who just would occasionally say, maybe you should learn this. And she was a Capricorn also. So as far as how some of the qualities of one of these shows up, of course, it's different in different people. And you have many aspects to your chart. And you might go with something other than Western astrology. I'm going very deep with Mayan astrology. It's what it is, birth signs and birth energies and who you are. And it's very, very different. It's extremely deep, but very different. And so the idea, though, is that Capricorn energy is in this moon. And then that means that's the energy that you're receiving your reflection. You're receiving a download of silver goddess ray energy, always with the moon in different aspects. So I only have one of these, and they used to be my favorite all-time earrings. But you get so much silver light energy when you're seeing the crescent moon. And then as it's waxing, as it's getting bigger, as it's gaining mass and gaining your ability to see, because it's always there, right? You're downloading more sacred silver goddess energy, and that is the ray of creation number 10. Okay, so 10 is the goddess ray, 12 is the god ray, the gold ray. That's the sun. And then in between them, interestingly, is this very sherbety ray. It's like pale pastel orange, pink, little lemon, yellow in there. And it is this unbelievable, to me, an aura or a buffer between the masculine and the feminine, or between the moon and the sun, or between the polarities and the duality within you. So it's worth looking at that. That's free on my shop, by the way. Let me put that up for you. If you go to the shop, of course, if you subscribe, please come to nanakasha.com. Please subscribe here and share. I want so many people to get this information to support you. So the spiritual weather report is saying, well, what's happening around me that then can help me interpret how I'm feeling, what's happening, and how to prepare for the next day, the next week. What is the best thing to do right now? Oh, I was going to, make potatoes, but the potatoes didn't come in. But oh, look, what is here? Oh, this is the season of tomatoes. So now I'm going to say, oh, there's a lot of tomatoes because that's what's here, right? There's a lot of moonlight. There's a lot of illumination. This is the harvesting of certain things in your life. It's when something comes to the fruition, right? It's the ultimate. So it can be a very abundant time. Capricorn is the energy that we're going to look at more energies, but the energy that you can see. So if you think of the sun and the moon as brothers, sisters, in the Mayan cosmology, there's a beautiful creation, a whole story about them, and how they go from being people to being the moon and the sun. And some of the really beautiful ways of interpretation of these energies in other cultures has been, lovers that get to only meet in the new moon, because the new moon, we don't have a moon, we can't see it because they're like this, they're together. And I always think they're like hugging and snuggling and kissing and cuddling. And they're like, oh, and it's almost like this bittersweet sadness, like they're these beautiful energies, but they only get to meet and they don't have any choice over that. They can't just say, I'm just going to leave. And I don't want to be over here. I'm going to go over there to be with the sun right now. So they're like in service to us, and they're bringing us energies, and they're bringing us consciousness. And the moon being so related to the Maya of their sacred calendar, their sacred numerology, and the sacred feminine. And so, and for everything, that idea that it's feminine. So when you have the full moon, you are in with the priestesses, you are in with the goddesses, you are in the temples, you're connected to all the traditions throughout the world that have in some way, especially right now, the ancient civilizations that were honoring the goddess, that were having temples and stone circles and ceremonies and groves, and realizing and speaking to the earth and respecting the life force and everything, and understanding that we're in a cycle. And the true sacred feminine, the big primordial Gaia type sacred feminine, is the creator, is the source. And within that, then the elements, the colors, the rays were formed from her. And then those started to create music, and those started to create color, and those started to create possibility for those frequencies to come together to create something new. And then we have all these other layers of sacred geometry and other things that build reality until we come into a 3D object. Okay, so the obsidian comes in, and it's a part of the earth, and it's volcanic glass, and so it has elements and energies inside of it that go with volcano energy. Well, what is volcano energy, right? Then you go right down that path. You can go into Pele, most well-known volcano type goddess. This is Gaia goddess. This is earth. This is earth, new earth. What are you boiling within you? What is melting the old beliefs, the old stories, and then taking all the wisdom from that? Because if you melt everything away with fire and earth is another whole thing, right? Now you've got the idea of you're creating new earth from the old earth, but it's purified through the fire. So you're adopting those wisdoms, okay? So this is a perfect time to connect to the moon maidens, to the goddess temples, to the priestesses of the moon. And I'm so excited because we're going, to Glastonbury again this year, and we have 3 spots left, so come and do this now, because what's so cool is today's the full moon, and in 2 months we're going to be there. We're going to be at Stonehenge private access with Maria Wheely. We're going to be going into the goddess temples. We're going to be communing with the ancient long skull priestesses and goddesses and queens that she's discovered. She knows all where they are. We're going to go into all these ancient Neolithic and Bronze Age and the stone structures, into them as healing temples, into them knowing, dowsing, sensing the earth energies, respecting the earth energies. So this full moon, and a couple months ago, the full moon was the first time Maria and I did a show, and it was so funny because the date kept having to change, and when it landed, oh, look, it's the full moon. And so the first part of the retreat is me, and the next part of the retreat is both of us, and you can come to either one. I think it would be highly beneficial for you to come to all of it. However, reach out to me, because we do have, this is the link, and it should be below, and if you're on my website, you get them. But I'm happy to talk to you. If you have fears or concerns or questions or logistics, we help you with how to get from the airport, either London and Bristol, and all the different aspects of it. And we don't include the accommodations, but we have accommodations reserved. So if you want one, you can take a peek. So what's so amazing is that on the full moon, and we did this on purpose, I kept changing my design of like, when are we going to do this, Maria? And she's like, what do you want? And I'm like, okay. And I'm conjuring the idea, and conjuring the energies of Stonehenge and the sacred history there. And there's so many histories, right, that come together in Glastonbury and on the Tor, and with the goddess house, and with Avebury, and with all the stone long barrows and everything. It's just filled. It's an ancient landscape. It's a ceremonial, sacred landscape that the ancients and the dragons, that's why it's called dragon lines. That's why there's so much dragon lore there, because the dragons really loved this land, because it's filled with portals and powerful energies. So when you go somewhere, and I've been doing shows on sacred travel, the benefits of sacred travel, the benefits of sacred retreats, and how you can then, access that even if you can't go anywhere right now. But check that out. That's a playlist here as well. And what you want to do is on my YouTube channel, if you're seeing this somewhere else, and if what you want to do is start to realize that the full moon here is the full moon there is the full moon there. It connects to the full moons you've been in, and it connects to the full moon at every sacred site on the planet, and maybe a different time of day that the full moon is rising over the pyramid at Giza, or rising over the pyramid here, the Kukulkan pyramid at Chichen Itza, or which is like only an hour and a half away from me or something, 2 hours max. Stonehenge is the most iconic stone circle in the world. Of course, it's very much like Egyptian pyramid. It's sort of something that if you're at all called to this work at some point in your life, now access there is very limited. You can't get near it on a normal day. You just have to stand way over there on a road and go, oh, look, there it is. If you go private access, which is what we have, then you get to go inside the circle, and you can go all in here. And Maria has her book on the ancient secrets of Stonehenge. So she's not just like, oh, I'm a tour guide. This is a sacred experience. This is a pilgrimage. We are going to raise the sacred feminine within us, free it from the landscape, free it from the stones, open our communication. What can I do now to embody my own, to free myself from trauma, to free myself? And in the full moon, those powers are amplified, and it's going to be a lunar eclipse, and it's the high moon, which we're having right now. This is a high moon. This is the point where the moon reaches one peak in its cycle and starts to circle back around. So we have a different energy based on all of these things. And to go in a sacred way, these priestesses had a Glastonbury, especially the crescent moon here, sometimes the triple moon, right? Very Celtic, very Brigide. We're working with all of those, the ancient goddesses of the Celts. Maria herself is an active practicing druid. She's a goddess girl. One of the reasons I've just fallen in love with her and I'm continuing to go deeper with this work is that she brings an element to, I bring the sacred wisdom and the knowledge and the communication with the stones and the land and the priestesses and the energy work that I see from my mystery schools. And she brings in this wisdom of knowing the land, knowing all the phases of this, knowing what's true and what's not, what's the way to enter. This stone here will align your spines. Over here, we're activating our chakras. Over there is a spiral that will realign your whole body. This is, this is where you cleanse. These places were built like sacred acupuncture, right? Another fabulous thing. So right now, because we're in the full moon, this full moon is talking to the next full moon and the next full moon. Okay, very, very, very much so. So the next full moon, we're going to be doing a very beautiful Lionsgate experience on here, because Lionsgate, which is technically August 8th, but we will be in that portal there. And that's a whole other goddess temple, ancient Egypt, Sphinx energy, sacred feminine energy, Sekhmet energy. These different energies, the priestess is the voice, the body, the hands of the goddess on earth. So we are all being asked to remember our priestess side. Now, whether you want to call yourself a priestess or you like that word or not, the idea is that you came into a body to embody divinity, and you have a certain story, certain paths, certain things that have been unfolding and releasing. So when you go on something like this, you're talking to the earth, you're leaving your normal life, you're coming in a sacred way with a sacred group, with people who know that I'm going to do ceremony when we're there, and we're going to be activating the stones, and you're going to be receiving key codes, and you'll download things you won't even remember or won't know till later. There's a whole level happening between the stones, the crystals in the stones, the land, the full moon, what particular energies are happening on the lunar eclipse. So I'm going to be doing some work with this in the first half when we're in Glastonbury doing our ancient queen's pilgrimage, reactivating our hearts, our chakras, the land, the earth, and our connection to our inner queen or king, that sovereign part of us that's ready to stand and be seen. And it doesn't matter if people like you or not, because you're there to do beautiful things through the heart. Everything has to start through the heart. So before we go to Stonehenge, and before we go to Woodhenge, and before we go see the Venus encoding at the Wells Cathedral, and all these sacred things we're going to do, they connect to the goddess in the land, the goddess in the ancient ceremonies, the goddess temples, the goddess priestesses, the goddess energies of the earth and the crystals and the stars and the cosmos. So you're opening portals and stargates, you're connecting with the earth energies. I don't know anything more powerful, because this is what happened to me when first time I went with my mystery school, Melchizedek method, Alton Camadon. We went to Egypt. It was the most mind-blowing, life-altering experience ever. And I was in the mystery school, so it was only for people in the mystery school. And we were going into all the temples, private access, and we were doing activations in all the temples. And we went into the pyramid for 4 hours each day. Was talk about like blowing through lifetimes, and I don't even know what else to tell you. So the things I've done and the things I've seen, but that to me was the pinnacle. And I left there, and that's what I do with my retreats. I want these powerful experiences, these unique experiences. Where could we do our inner work? Where could we do our self-love work? Where can we do our trauma work? Where can we do rewiring our mind? Where can we discover who we are? Where can we shed the old identity? All the stuff we're doing here to then reconnect with our soul mission and our soul purpose. So when we're in the full moon, we're getting all of that feminine energy, and Ishel pours it down on you. Her as the grandmother or grandmother Ishmukane, she's pouring down constantly this silver goddess ray, which is pure unconditional love, which is then utilized within us if we radiate pure unconditional love, if we receive it into our hearts and we walk with it and we see through it and we choose through it, what more powerful thing can we do to heal ourselves, to heal the past, to heal our ancestors, our family, our future, our finances? There's nothing else. This is the most powerful moment. Things are pop, pop, pop happening so fast. This morning, I had the deep pleasure to do a session with a client of mine who came last year to Glastonbury, and she's quantum leaped. I've known her for 13 years. I think we figured out today. And the difference what I've been able to watch her life do as I've been on the sidelines, like come in and help. And she works with me. She went through the whole light body school. We realized today some of the deeper karmic reasons, some of the deeper soul lineage reasons, some of the reasons for what now that she's freed patterns, and patterns are ending and relationships are ending and obligations are ending in the physical world. You need to take that as the sign that you are being gifted with freedom. Now you take back that worry, that power, that idea. You don't have to carry it. You don't have to deal with it. It can go away. Even if you barely think about it, you're carrying it somewhere. And so if you complete a lawsuit or a divorce or a marriage, or, it doesn't have to be something hard. It could be something joyful, but it's a major transition. If you left your job or want to leave your job or got left off from your job, if your job burned down, you don't know what's going to happen today. Everything is falling apart for us. We're going to become the butterfly. Don't focus on what's falling apart, and then get with sacred groups. Find a community. Remember your priestess self. Go on pilgrimages. Go on your own pilgrimage to the forest. I don't care where you go. I want you to start to remember these are power moments. And so today, being a full moon, we not only give great thanks to our next beautiful portal, which will be through our powerful Leo energies, right? Our powerful Lionsgate energies. And then we will be here in September with Maria on the high moon, the lunar eclipse, the full moon, at all these sacred sites for 3 days with her, and for 3.5 days with me. So everything is here. If you put in this, we'll send you more information, and we'll send you some this video here, Steps to Sacred Retreat Secrets and Manifesting Your Dreams Now. So it's really how to embody the sacred feminine, how to embody your wish and then make it real in whatever way, no matter what you think is in your way. Oh, I can't because of time, money, whatever. If it's really meant to be, it's a true heart calling, then you'll know. So we've got everything here. What's important is that we're going to be going in a way to access the celestial goddess temple of Stonehenge. So in her book, she talks about this was a celestial goddess temple, a healing and oracle, and the center of the ancient priestesses of Stonehenge, phase 1, not that Stonehenge. Okay. And so we're going there in a sacred way. We're going with somebody who's already spoken to them, who has found these ancient queens. We're going as a circle together with priestesses, and you could remember powers. You're going to be walking that path of the ancient wise women. That's what this is. This is a pilgrimage of the ancient wise woman within the land, within the stones, within the cultures, within the traditions, within the past, locked away, buried, and we're freeing that. And that in turn frees our voice. And that in turn allows you to go into your mystical powers, which is what this moon told me it's about. Okay, so we get to go all of these beautiful places. Go inside of this healing temple. Wow, one of the most amazing experiences. Be around 3 sacred circles of pink crystal stone dedicated to 3 feminine planets, reflecting through the whole landscape here. Everything here is a reflection of the stars and the planets. So this area might represent the Earth, and this represents Saturn, and this represents something else. And then there's the goddess in the landscape. And so we are attuning to the sacred feminine, allowing our powers to come out. And in this full moon, the lunar eclipse, remember, eclipses are intensorama. You are literally leaving one reality, going to another. My favorite friend and astrologer, who will be with us next Tuesday, so don't miss that, is that, yeah, the next show will be Tuesday, and Donna's going to come and talk about some of these energies we're going to dive into in a moment in depth, because she's the expert, and she's going to give you this triad that's coming up, this really rare, amazing portal that if you understand it's there, you're going to be able to amplify the benefits you get. By going to sacred sites, you amplify the benefits if you go in a sacred way, if you go with a group, if you go and activate when you're there, if you go and you understand the truer or deeper meaning, you go and you've spoken to the guardians of the land, you've respected it. This is the way we have to remember to live again. I live like this 24/7. It might sound like, how do you do that all the time? Believe me, it changes everything in your life. So one of these areas, one of these ancient horses, the Epona, the goddess, really rare goddess of the Celtics. Also, Rhiannon will probably come in. This is Dragon Hill. Clearly, we're going to have some dragon energies. Maria is just a very well known. If you've never heard of her, go to Gaia. This was us with a group last year, and she knows this place better than anyone. So it's a true honor to be able to get to her. There may come a time when we can't. Her and I are planning to do a lot of things together. So hopefully that will keep unfolding. This was us last year with her up on the tour in Glastonbury. That's the Chalice Well. We have private access to that. This is up on the tour. We went up. We're going much earlier, so the weather's going to be way better. But we went up there in torrential rains, and it was like a test of our will. And then we were up there, and I don't think this is the right picture, but once we were up there, the sun came out and there was a rainbow. So there's a rainbow at the end of all of the different things we're doing. So, okay, my dears, you can grab Maria's book. Oh my gosh, it's something else. And also, this is one way to see all the 3 shows we did together. And I do recommend watching, especially the first one about Stonehenge. There's something very magical about the way that Maria can share this information and allow us to be there, to experience it heart and heart and hand in hand. You feel yourself there, you are there. And so that's what we are going to dive into. Let me just say hi. Hello, Cheryl. Mystical insights. What? I know, right? Well, I actually grew up in England, so I went to Stonehenge when there wasn't, as far as I know, there wasn't even a visitor center. You just like parked your car and walked across fields and touched it and laid on it and stood on it and ran around it. But nobody I was with had any clue. I don't even remember being told the history of it, the way that there was Greek history about the mystical things of that. So, well, I'm all about, as Cheryl knows, I'm all about the mystical side of us, the subtle realms, the 90%. I feel like it's more, but let's just use 90. 90% of us is unseen. And so we've been raised in a way that our focus has been anywhere from almost 100% to minimum 50% of our focus being on the 3D world, and thinking that the way to change the 3D world is through working hard, working more hours, telling people what to do, figuring out the how, all the things trying to push the physical to manifest physical, but the physical never gave birth to physical ever. And so in this show, that's what we're doing, is unraveling these mysteries and how do they practically apply directly to us. So this is a quick recap for you. Full moon portal today. The next 2 weeks will be all the energies we talk about today, and we'll dive into a guided process with the full moon in a minute. Auspicious aspects of Uranus, Gemini, Pluto, Saturn, Mercury, and more. I'm going to share that with you in a minute. And this is what the point of this is for us to use this information wisely. So I started a show. I did a show this week. I highly recommend. Yes, it is 2 hours long. So we have been dividing it up into that one into 3. Donna will be putting those up here. And in a week or 2, we're going to have the 4th one. This is turning out to be vital. And what I mean by the magic wound is our fear of our own intuition, our fear of our own psychic powers, our fear of our own healing powers, to whatever degree that still may be inside of you. I know that it's still in everyone, and thankfully we are throwing that off and being called back to our spirit, to our healing, to our energy work, to our sacredness, to our presence, to our respect for all life. However, this is like healing the mother wound. If you don't get reaccess to your sacred feminine, then everything is going to continue to be this struggle, because when you believe that you create from the physical world, you're going to be out there trying to make the reflection in the mirror go first. You smile first. Okay. And Tuesday, we're going to be doing this unprecedented alignments that forms something like I can't even remember now, a Griant, Tran, Lyad, Triad, thing, ding, ding, ding. And it's going to be amazing. Now, we excited about this. Hopefully, I've got the schedule here. We're going to be doing an Intuition Awakening Challenge. And if you've been a part of one of those before, they're super fun. It's going to be 3 days. It's going to be here. It's going to be no fee. I think it's going to be the 17, 18, and 19. Within a day or so, Donna should have those up here so you can check. But also, if you are on the list, you will get the notification. So we're going to have these up as different. This is how we've defined the show I did the other day into 3. So discovering it, the vows you've held, how they are in your mind and body and emotions and everything. We did some healing work around it, and then the final live one I'll be doing soon will be reclaiming. Also, this is coming up at some point this year. This is our goddess event. So let's go ahead and dive into the full moon. So it's the names of the full moon typically used are from the Farmer's Almanac. And by the way, I just don't like that. No offense to farmers, but these moons were being tracked by the goddesses, by the priestesses, by the cultures, by the families, by hunters, by everybody, the animals, the birds, from the first time they existed. And so I don't like calling it a buck moon or a strawberry moon, because it happens to be the time that strawberries grow. Strawberries isn't bad. But I did search for not just my own, which you'll get in a minute, but what were other names. One was the salmon moon. I'm not into salmon. So, but I found one that said that one tradition of Native Americans in the US called it the thunder moon. And I thought, okay, now we're talking. Now we're connecting to elemental power, to Zeus, to Koyopa, which is the kundalini, the lightning in the blood, the pulse within you, that when you awaken your truth, you now have that Koyopa that's signified by lightning. So we are in the full moon thunder portal, and this is our activation. So please know that when you entered, I've already created sacred space. In a moment when we start to go in, you're going to want to lay down. You're going to want to sit somewhere comfortable. You want to be able to put your feet up, maybe light a candle and incense if you haven't already, and relax, because you always enter sacred space with me. I clear and cleanse myself before. I call in all these elements, the full moon and everything before, sometimes for hours, but since the dawn of the day, when I'm walking on the beach and I'm talking to the moon and the sun and the stars and everything else, it's all starting. But then I activate a very special infinity healing chamber for these. So you are inside of a full moon temple, which is inside of an infinity healing chamber. And what the moon told me was the thunder is the support. It's that voice that you've been looking for. It's that declaration. It's that release, almost like the volcano. It's showing me like, boom. I'm ready. I am. And you're going to let it come out of you in such a powerful way that you harness your energy instead of hide it and suppress it and spend all your energy holding it down. Okay. And you embody your mystical gifts, because that's the purpose of you being in a body. You didn't come into a body to suffer and pay bills and do all this boring, mundane stuff. Okay, that sometimes has to happen, but it isn't supposed to consume you, overwhelm you, stress you, and drain you. Stop doing anything in your life that does that. Step back. Is it the meaning I give it? Is it the belief I have about it? Do I feel powerless? Where is this disconnect that I am letting this take my power, that I'm letting this job, this relationship, this problem define for me how I feel? Because my emotional field is powerful. And if I don't reclaim it, if I don't use that power in a way to build and create and be constructive, then it's going to be going and boom with the negativity. But I want to boom with my voice and my power and my spiritual vision. Your mystical gifts are things like your intuition, and it's a sense, and it's a body, and it has been shut down and burned and erased and threatened and blah, blah, blah for so long that as it's starting, trying to break free from the cocoon of protection that we've created for it, like the beliefs, it's not safe to be psychic, it's not safe to let people know I'm spiritual, it's not safe to meditate, it's not safe to do this, that, the other thing. I have so many clients. I do have one spot, I think, right now in the summer, if you want to do some private work with me. There's not a lot of that available. So if you're in a moment where you feel like, wow, I want to go deep, I want to know what this is, I'm ready to resolve it, because the sessions are not just information. We go in, we shamanically journey, we work with all these elements, we maybe go to past lives, we maybe do soul lineage. I don't determine it, because it's what's optimal for you right now in this moment. So if you're on the threshold, or you're now past that threshold and like, I don't even know what to do with all this freedom, or who I am right now, and that next step is so powerful right now. So you're leaping from the full moon through and gathering up all your mystical gifts. It can be trusting not just your powers, but that in every moment and point in time, everything is there that you require. You don't have to remember everything. You don't have to wait till you're certified. You don't have to do now, yes, now, yes, and now, yes. And each next now moment is inviting you. And what are you going to do? Worry about this, feel that, hold this back, hide, or this lunar gift that's inviting you to feel your strength. And I want to just say, I had a conversation with somebody who said resilience needs to be, it's kind of like trauma right now. It's a strong word, but it's also couched with the idea that it comes from suffering and struggle. Resilience is natural to you and me, and resilience and joy live together. So marry some happy frequencies to your idea of resilience. Don't just be like, oh, I'm suffering again, so now I'm going to be really resilient. That's positive. I like that. However, I want you to start choosing the flavor that goes into everything you do. So the outcome of the life that you start to live by transforming this within you and radiating out the most powerful vision you possibly can is filled with the most juicy, delicious, delightful, joyful energies. And it doesn't mean that you have to be living in joy every minute. Oh, that's a long lesson to learn, okay? I'm an expert at this stuff because I have lived it. Woo, wee, woo, oh, ee, ah, ooh, okay? Crucified myself and everything beyond. So it's not what happened. It's what I thought it meant. It's what you thought it meant. And you're the storyteller. So you can change that story. You can go back and look at that story again and say, wow, look what I did. I'm strong. This doesn't affect me anymore. I don't need to keep hiding from men because now I have a voice. I can say no. So maybe I can go out and potentially be open to a relationship. Or that was one of my stories is I got very afraid of men. I was not good at saying no. Thankfully, nothing really dangerous happened, but it was, if you're a girl, you know what I'm talking about. It's just life. So one of the things is not to learn, we had to start to learn. Nobody told me this. You can say no and just say no and that and that. It's like, and that struggle between trying to please and be a good girl and make everybody happy and be liked and say, hey, this isn't working for me. And I don't want to be around this energy. And now I'm going somewhere else and you do whatever you want. I am not telling you what to do, but now it's my turn to decide what energy goes into me. What am I feeding my energy field, my aura, my body? What am I feeding my mind, my emotions? What am I feeding all these parts of me that are here? And then all these realms that are out here that you can really see and feel right now are illuminating right now. They're coming in and they're grounding into our temple. There's a sense of grounding coming in now. Very nice. Thank you. It's the Capricorn energy that's bringing the ground. Come on down here. We can play, but I want you on the earth, which I love because that is the earth signs is earth. What's earth? Things, form. What do we mostly want? Things and form, right? Mostly we want peace, harmony. That's what we really wish for. However, in your manifesting, you are allowed to manifest things as well. So the full moon has a gift always, has a particular energy always, and it has the full moon aspect of being the harvest, being the abundance. So you may be harvesting an abundance of shit you don't want. It's still the full moon energy. So the gift of the goddess and the gift of understanding sacred feminine energies, which is it doesn't mean it has to be women under the moon with shrouds on. Okay, we're embodying this to realize our intuition is no different than our eyes. We need it to function every day. We need it revived. We need it reconnected. We need it renewed. So accept this download of all these energies and the gifts within it, and then use them whichever way you want. Okay, so resilience and joy, let's put those together. There's that you are is missing, smarter and more steady on your feet like a goat than you think. And this is true. I'm noticing that over and over, I have to remind myself and everyone, we're shedding. And sometimes you shed something, but you're still dragging it around, like taking off a jacket because you're hot, but tying it around your waist and then forgetting that you're still carrying it. If you've shed it, let it go. Find where you're still thinking about it, worrying about it, not completing it, carrying it somewhere within you, because your energy needs to come into the fullness of this moment to embody the next level. The more you upgrade your light body, the more capacity you have for the frequencies of the sun and the moon, the more you hear, see, feel, sense. So in the Intuition Awakening Summer Camp, which is an absolute must, I'm not chasing anybody, but I'm just telling you, it's unequivocal right now. If you don't do that, do something. Do something to catapult your intuition now during this massively powerful time. Why not harness these energies? They're moving fast, they're transforming fast. The fire energy is so powerful right now. The shedding energy is so powerful right now. It might be awkward and uncomfortable, but very quickly you could go to a whole new level that in the past could take you years or decades or longer. So please, now, can you be confidence? Because wow, Capricorn's bringing you confidence energy. They're their own authority. The first thing my children say is no. But I just offered you, an ice cream, or I just offered you a massage, like I just offered you something wonderful. And no, because they're their own authority. It's not their idea. But as soon as then I had one daughter who was totally transparent. She still is. She'll be like, no, thanks, Mama. No. Oh, wait a minute. What'd you say? Yeah, maybe. Let me think about that. Or yeah. So that is one of the things you have with Capricorn energy that you could harness right now, and in anything you're thinking about, anything you're doing. If you're in a negotiation, if you're thinking about a new job, like apply these energies to every area of your life. Okay. Be steady on your feet. Know that you can trust your feet, even if it feels like things aren't even under your feet. The goat doesn't matter. They don't care. Be your own authority. Harvest a new level of self-awareness on your spiritual journey, and accept the gift of your mystical powers. Okay, so let's look at some of the left brain things here. Full moon in Capricorn brings focus, dedication, and steadiness, grounding, and soul level accountability. This is the time to remember your vows and mission and mystical powers and structure, okay? Essential for manifesting long-term visions. That structure is kind of like the rock, feel the rock under you, even if it's not even, okay? Because your vows are vows that you won't ever do this again because it hurt you or other people. So make sure you watch that Magical Wound show, and we went into that, right? Or your vow is that I will be successful. I will prove them wrong. I will show everybody. I will do this thing, but you're trying to do it in a way that's from lack, from hard work, from like, I'm going to do it anyway, despite all you people, which just infuses it with the flavor of hard work. A vow can also be that we will come back together again. We will finish this. And that's what's happening in my life. I have had through 38 years of spiritual work and life falling apart in many different ways along the way. Talk about catapulting your spiritual growth through like, woo, that divorce just, oh, that bankruptcy just, oh, that person died. That just where you're just like catapult, you're just like, okay, time for the next springboard. And I'm so glad now because that's something your soul designed into you. You're not being punished and nobody else did it to you. You're ready for something new, right? So the vows support you and the vows hold you back and your mission will clarify. So when you access these powers, they're saying, I'm willing to know and hear my inner self, my body elemental. I want to know what it means when my arm's talking to me, when I'm having an allergic reaction. Not to drive yourself crazy with signs, but it's important because these mystical powers are, being a mystic means you think outside the 3D. You expand your mind. You go into other realms, you receive information, past, present, future, all of that, okay? The moon is trining Mars and it infuses, because Mars is typically, oh, war, war, war. Yes, it can, because it's a masculine energy of strength. However, if you embody and relate to Mars in this way, you and I are going to change and diffuse that power for the rest of the world who may not use it in the most soft, loving way. Okay, so it infuses courage, precision, action, time to complete projects, stand in your own authority, bring dreams into form. And a trine brings ease and harmony. It makes things easy. Now, I used to think that meant it's always good things, but it isn't. I learned from Donna Stellhorn that it doesn't make things right, like, ooh, that's the perfect thing for me, thank you. It makes things easy. So it's like something lines up, and now that person can run through the door and stab you in the heart. Okay, or things line up and that phone call from your potential soulmate finally gets through to you. So that's what we're talking, a trine. Okay, so that's why take the Mars energy instead of being argumentative energy or power over energy. Diffuse that. Come into the sacred masculine. How would the sacred masculine? Remember these old systems. I love astrology, but they were written by old people in old paradigms and old mindsets. We're talking about unity. We're talking about coming together in perfect balance of sacred masculine and feminine. So how can I see the moon shining on Mars and eliciting the sacred feminine aspect of Mars? What can it use all that power, all that desire to go out, all that courage in this way? Bring the courage and precision and action into your projects, into your life, but in a strong, soft way. Okay. Saturn, okay, this is the law of karma. This is the taskmaster. This is the Zen master that says, wax on, wax off. I'm not telling you why. But basically what that is about is, I want you to be your best. Saturn is just like, I love you, and this is the way I'm going to support you. Are you sure you're packed? Did you check your equipment? Go back and recheck that. Go back and finish that. Did you complete this? And we feel all excited to go running forward all the time. And Saturn's like, listen, I want you to succeed, to be your best. Take some time. Sometimes I'm going to block you. Okay. Now, sextiling Uranus and Pluto is very interesting because Pluto is the planet of the underworld or death. It's when you go through things, and we're in a big thing with Pluto right now. So watch some of the shows we've done on that. And Uranus is the planet of sudden change, sudden transformation. Okay. And it's just wants change no matter what. So it might be great change. It might be scary change. It might be, what the hell just happened? The bottom just fell out of everything I do. All of it's going to be unexpected. And if it's relating to Pluto, it means things are going to be falling away, shedding, ending, and maybe birthing and opening. But you have to have, maybe you've gone into the underworld around something and your divorce is final now. And now you can go out and marry your beloved. That's a perfect example. But, Uranus is going to come and it's going to be like, if you aren't ready to let something die, it's going to say, yeah, guess what? We're cutting it off now. You're done. No more wallowing around in that. That might be one way to use it. Might be able to say, guess what? You want to use these energies, right? You want to be, guess what? Let my relationship with money is just full of stress and fear and worry all the time. And I'm ready to let that die. And whatever sudden change that would support me from being in peace and harmony and flow with financial energies and thoughts and beliefs, and carrying peace and being receptive and open and seeing the abundance everywhere, right? So that's the harvest abundance full moon. That's how you take that energy. You see how we have all these ingredients now on the table, and you can make your own full moon experience. You pull from the things you think, oh, I love that. They're deeper and deeper, and then when they interact together in these different ways, it's why every moment is unique. This won't happen again exactly the same way. So now there's a sense of sextiles being kind of positive too. However, it's a little bit of an irritation. It's a little bit of a things don't go quite right, and that, I feel, is Saturn asking us to review and prepare with presence and inner peace as you let it die. So wherever you're going, you're going to be alchemized to liberate and transform. Saturn wishes you to check, strengthen, and focus your spiritual structure. Again, we're seeing that structure or that foundation come, that energy again, which is complementing the Capricorn energy. So those energies are working together right now. You can harness those and find out what's the best way for me to use those, and understand if something does fall apart, if you are blocked in something, you don't get upset about it. Don't see anything that happens as bad. Step back and say, oh, that's interesting. What does that mean? Maybe there's a better way. Don't be that fly that dies on the windowsill when the door was open across the room. So Uranus, like we said, insists on change and now at any cost. And Pluto offers the underworld access that you're looking for. You're looking to go into your fear. You're looking to reharness your powers. You're looking for the illumination of the full moon to shine deep into the womb of your creation, to let go of the things that maybe what you want Uranus to do is to let you go of guilt, blame, shame, and victimhood. I don't want to carry any more of those thoughts. I don't want to feel myself as a victim. I don't want to see anybody else as a victim. This is old stories. It's illusions. It's not true. I'm tired of adding to the creation of it. I'm going to do something new. Thank you, Uranus. I'll let it die. Pluto will take it. The Uranus will do it. Capricorn will show me how this new structure and possibility, right, is being released, the power in the fears. And with your eternal nature reignited within you, you move forward with a very different mindset. And that's the other gift of the great sacred feminine of this, is that God is pouring down that illumination. All right. So the other, I told you this is a very, very active full moon. It wasn't one that I could just say, and by the way, the full moon is helping us here, so let's move on. I needed to do the spiritual weather report for this. So Chiron and Cancer and Sun are trining Pisces North Node. So purpose and destiny requires healing past pain and grief. These are what these energies combine to do, to offer you. Redefining your sense of self and being home within yourself. Okay, I had to keep correcting that. I wanted to say with self. This is about being home within you, accepting yourself, getting into your body, Earth, Capricorn, loving your body, manifesting. The North Node is about your purpose. This is your destiny. This is your North Star. This is the way you are moving forward. So if you're moving forward with Capricorn certainty on any kind of ground, and you're letting the full moon illuminate that, and you're letting these energies we just discussed come in as is relevant, you're going to be having like this team weaving a tapestry in front of you as you're walking along your destiny path. Get off of everybody else's path. Don't live their stories. Don't live your life for anyone else. Weave and walk on your own path of destiny. So the purpose and the destiny weaving, and you want the healing and the past pain and the grief to come up so that you can dissolve it in the moon. You can let the goddess take it. You can let these energies take it. So as you redefine the sense of who you are, yourself, and you feel comfortable within you, I love myself. I accept myself. I'm willing to be here. It's safe to be here. That acceptance, that love, that nurturing is going to come from that hominess of this moment. And Chiron is the wounded healer. So the healer, the master healer, is here. Now, I don't see Chiron as wounded, because when you understand the entire concept that he embodies, it's you are the healer who heals yourself. And you are always wounded and healed in every moment. So his story through the Greeks was actually that he had all these trials and pains and so much suffering, and was never able to, like, got through them, but was never able to free himself from constant pain. Does that relate to anybody? Pain, doesn't matter what kind of pain, physical, mental, emotional, whatever. That's what it represents. And finally, he went to the gods and he pleaded and he said, please, I've done all of this. Could you please take away my pain? And it was so deep that even the gods, okay, so you go to your higher self, you go to the aspect of the divine part of you. And for some reason, your pain is just so deeply embedded. It's so much a part of you. It's so important for your purpose and mission that that higher part of you says, we can't take away the pain. We're so sorry. However, we'll make you a god. We'll remind you that you have all these powers. So what are you going to do with your pain? What is your choice with the pain? What are you going to transform the pain into? Are you going to say, oh, the pain, and it weighs on me, and it defines me, and it limits me, and I hate it, and it's not fair, and you're going to live like that? That's not a self-image I want. So that's what they're saying by redefining a sense of self. Don't be a victim to any wound that you've had. And I acknowledge and love you for all the wounds that you've gotten. I've been through so much in my life, and I haven't even touched the surface of what's possible, of what other people have experienced. I will never belittle your pain. I will never tell you to deny that what happened to you was not right or didn't cause you some kind of loss. All of it is true. And here's the thing, we get to decide what it means. We don't have to choose it again. We don't have to condone it, but we also don't have to spend our lives being poisoned by it. Free yourself, free others. And Chiron realized that and then became the master healer. He trained many of the Greek healers, master healers. So the purpose is that your destiny, it requires your wounds and your healing. It requires you not to be like, oh, I'm perfect. You need to be in the body, and then you need to be divine, and you need to be doing it even when you're sad, and not projecting victims, and do it from supportive and strength and inner light of your own to yourself and others. So the mystical gifts that you can access in this portal, as you can see, deep emotional release, ancestral healing, healing yourself, changing your body, clarity about your life's direction, sturdiness on your feet as you take steps forward. It's very much a threshold moment. It's a time to release old patterns, celebrate growth, of course, the harvest, the party, yay, 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 and recommit to your highest purpose and receive the gifts of the silver glow of the full moon and consciously choose to step into a new cycle of maturity, freedom, and soul embodiment. So, that was so much. It came in such a beautiful way. I'm going to just tune in. Thank you, Olga. Hey, listen, everybody here has been through a lot, and you may have been heard. You may not have been heard. You may have honored and respected yourself for going through what you've been through, or you blamed yourself. You may be still carrying these wounds and thinking that you're damaged forever. There's no life for you anymore. And I've been a healer for 40 years. I've been a hypnotherapist. I've been a homeopathic doctor for 40 years or so. I've done the energy work and the mystical work. I've traveled shamanic. I've seen so much. I've worked with so many clients. My partner had a seizure, basically lost his entire life of the life of what he had planned. And yet now we're incredibly happy. I couldn't be happier. Would I like him to have certain skills back? Sure. But I have to also accept that his soul knows what's optimal. There's always a way to see the gift, because somebody said something the other day that I thought was very profound. I think it was my friend who channels this ancient priestess, that if you go into the deep, dark cave, right, whatever you want to call it, right, you go into the fear, you go into the wound, you accept it, you stop letting it be something that hangs back in your mind or your heart of like, why did it happen to me? And I'll just, because I'm very good at living with stuff. Okay, I guess that's just going to be, and I'll just carry it with me like I'm carrying a huge sack of rocks energetically and emotionally. And then I've had to spend years and years and years clearing that, understanding that, where's the cause and where's the origin, and just all of this stuff. So allowing ourselves to realize that we're eternal. It's not that it's funny, but that we're meant to realize we're the hero or the heroine. And there it isn't, you didn't come into a body because I mistakenly thought. But you didn't come into a body to have peace, love, and ecstasy every moment. That's for damn sure. So it, instead of, for me, I had to go from mindset and culture and conditioning that I was raised in, that your value came in how hard you work, how much you suffered, to be the best, but don't think you're great. And it bound me into being a people pleaser that could never receive what I wanted and feel okay with receiving it or keep it or believe it was going to stay. So it was always, well, this is fun right now, but it'll be taken away from me. Someone will condemn me, someone will disown me, something will happen. And those comes from the other lives too. So you've got a lot going on. We are literally decoding the library of the infinite, and that's us. You could call it the Akashic records or a million other terms, but the beauty is that whenever possible, come back to gratitude, not from a duty, like, okay, fine, I'll be grateful for this shitty thing I got. But, like, okay, obviously there's a reason that this is, because I have decided, and I only think from everything happens in my life from the highest good. Everything is happening for me from the highest possible way of leading me out of where I am. And so maybe I've gotten myself down a hole and in the quicksand and lost in a forest and who knows what else, energetically or whatever. But every step is my soul and spirit saying, okay, you can't go to that job anymore. Sorry. And you see it as a bad thing, but your soul's like, thank God we finally got her out of that job. We need you to move out of this house, and you keep saving your house from foreclosure, thinking I have to do that because that's the 3D thing of having a shame. And yet spirit is trying to say, get rid of this friggin' house. It's hurting you. It's damaging you. It's not letting you move on. There's something better. But we have this idea that things have to be the way we want. And so laugh and joy and harmony and peace is always there in every moment, even when you're feeling the pain. And so accept all of it, accept both of it, accept the beautiful moon. Let me, give me one moment to get a sip of water, and I'll stay a couple more minutes because I feel like there's a beautiful blessing that we're meant to do here. Yes, you try your best to it. Yeah. And so, you know what? You just start embodying it, right? Mystical Insight says, I try my best to enjoy this journey, and it's not always easy. And so we have to change that to start telling ourselves, well, it is easy. And I'm not trying, like I'm here to enjoy the journey. I'm here because there's a reason I'm here. So it's interesting. Right. And the possibilities are here. And what are the ways that I could make it easier, right? What are the ways that in this moment, instead of like, if somebody's going to give you a shot and you run around screaming until they jab you, that's a pretty horrible experience. But if you're just like, relax your muscles, breathe. Okay, it kind of hurt, but it was for me. I wanted it, so those kind of things are, and that's our concept. It can just seem crazy hard when we're letting go of a relationship or a dream that we thought had to manifest a certain way. But I can promise you with every fiber of my being that there's something better. There's something so better. There's so many, many better things we can't imagine, ways for things to happen, magic. You can call it whatever you want, science, physics, I don't care what you call it. It's energy that we can't possibly imagine how. Which is why let go of the how doesn't mean like you don't get up and go, well, how am I going to get, like I'm going next week for 3 days, been called back to a pyramid, Itamna, it's the Mayan New Year. There's all these energies. So I'm going there to do dowsing work with Maria, which she's not going to be here, but I'm studying with her. So I'm going there to do certain things, douse certain energies, talk to the spirits, go up the pyramids, have my time. Of course, when that inspiration comes in, it's fun. I love it. But it's like, okay, what's the how? I don't sit on my couch and say, didn't anybody book me a place to stay, right? Oh, well, the how? Well, let me go see if that place we stayed last time is available. I really liked it. Oh, okay. Well, it is. So I'll think about that until it takes form. The same thing for the painful things too. And so we are given the chance now to very quickly rewire some of that. And it's very hard sometimes to do something that was painful the last time you did it. And you'll find deeply embedded beliefs and vows and agreements and things. And we talked all about that in the Magic Wound show earlier this week. Super powerful show. That thing could be a course. Okay, so make sure you see it. And like I said, I'll check on Donna, but if she's not able to get it up today, it'll be up by next week as the 3 parts. But it's all there, so you can just watch part of it and the next part of it. But we dive into the vows, beliefs that you have, the mindsets, where they came from, why they're there, how they affect you, how to transmute them, the how they make you make your choices, not realize that there's something over here and you choose something or you compromise it. You choose your people in your life, your jobs, your car, your what you believe you're worthy of on every level from these things. And these blocks are blocking us from this new energy that's pouring in, giving us a chance to evolve and change and shed and renew and go very quickly. So I'm excited because next year's a fire horse. If you think a fire horse doesn't go fast, it does. So we're in this earthy, feminine energy right now, shedding stuff, and we want to see that action. Well, don't worry, it's coming. So we're in the preparation phase, aren't we? Like now. That's the other thing too, is I used to want everything now, and I was told as a child, you can't have everything now, you can't have everything you want, blah, blah, blah. And then I realized when I got into spiritual work at one point, now is the only thing that exists. So I get to say I want it now. In the now, it is now here. It's already here. Now I want to be aware of it. Now I choose it. Now it's easy. Yeah, I am right in the now. So ciao. Thank you for being with us. Thank you, everybody. Happy, 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 happy full moon.